Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. We are on lesson 68. So, lesson 68 says love holds no grievances. And I love this one so much because it's so true. Um, it is so true. You cannot serve two masters. And we must understand that everything that we've been taught in a year of miracles so far is we are unconditional love, right? So if we're not feeding love or seeing anything outside of us through the lens of love or being love, we are holding grievances, right? Because love is unconditional. So you cannot hold on to grievances and fully experience love at the same time. You cannot feed two masters. You are either in love or not in love, right? It's not dipping your toe in, oh, I'm a little bit of love and not a little bit of love. You're one tiny, like we've said before, one tiny little upset or grievance, sorry, in this instance, one tiny little grievance means you're not in love. And so, if you want true peace, healing, and happiness, you must let go of all grievances, no matter how big or how small. So, I've got here a breakdown of what a grievance is. So, a grievance is any form of resentment, anger, or judgment you hold against someone or something, or even yourself. And this grievance keeps you stuck in an illusion of separation, right? This is the ego trying to keep you away from the true essence of who you really are. As I said, love is unconditional. Holding on to grievances is like putting a wall over your heart. Like we said in the previous lessons last week, like it's like wearing an armor, wearing a shield of armor and not allowing love in or love out. And the ego thrives on that. The ego thrives on that because it reinforces separation. So grievances distort your perception, making it impossible to see through the lens of love. And you create your own suffering. And so when you notice, the thoughts of grievance, the feelings of grievance, you can choose in any moment, like we've told you throughout the whole of these lessons, you get to choose differently. You get to connect back to the essence of who you really are. And there's a really good example here that I've got. It says holding on to grievances is like putting dirt on a shiny diamond. And I thought Karina would love that because she loves her diamond analogy. And it's true. And no matter how much that we think we're protecting ourselves, we're not. We're creating our own suffering. The ego wants you to believe that grievances keep you safe, but they actually keep you imprisoned. They actually keep you in suffering. True liberation comes when you choose love over fear.
Yes, Sammy pretty much touched on all of it. I mean, it's really that simple. It's really that you can either be in love or you can be in grievance or you can be in condemnation. You can be in hate. You can be in jealousy. You can be in whatever, right? And our job, our function is to choose love every single time. Love holds no grievances. So, one of the analogies that I use often, and I do believe I used here in A Course in Miracles for you guys, is I'm not at my house right now, but like in my office at home, I have my little Hoberman sphere, that toy that contracts and then expands. Well, it can't both be contracted and expanded. It's either expanded or it's contracted. Um, Contracted like I'm so angry, I feel this, I feel that, or expanded in love. Love is always this big expanded feel open feeling, and any grievance, any variation of a grievance is always going to feel contracted and icky and heavy and gross. Even like it can be fiery like anger, or it can be cold and hard like resentment, but you're going to notice that it does feel like concentrated and contracted, and you can't be both, right? That's another analogy that you can use. So whatever analogy or like, visual you want to use for it, it all points to the same idea, all points to the same truth, that you cannot both be in love and in resentment or and in grievance or condemnation or anything like that. And choosing condemnation or grievances, like Sammy said, it keeps you from your true power. It keeps you from what you can do for yourself and for the world. Love is all encompassing. Love, true love, touches everything. Love is infinitely expanded. So it like literally encompasses everything. And when you encompass everything, when you touch everything, you know you are everything. When you are infinitely expanded like that, you are truly tapped into your pure infinite power, which is your true nature. But again, allowing any grievances through starts to create that illusion of limitation. Any grievances, whether they're small or big. Holding on to a grievance is like closing your heart and expecting to feel love. So, forgiving doesn't mean accepting bad behavior. Forgiveness doesn't mean accepting that people did things that seem really shitty. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you're saying that's okay. All it means is that you're freeing yourself from burden. You're freeing yourself from that dirt on the diamond that Sammy said. So yeah, forgiveness is where you find peace in your true power. And when you understand this, when you truly get everything that Sammy just said and that I'm saying, forgiveness becomes a no-brainer. Why would you choose anything else? So the way that you practice this is in the morning and evening. You want to spend, again, 5 minutes up to 15 minutes if you want to go more like the book, A Course in Miracles, and ask yourself, is there anyone I still hold a grievance against? And be honest and willing to release it. And then hourly affirm, love holds no grievances, and I want to see with love. And then as needed throughout the day, if any irritation arises, remind yourself, I am choosing a grievance or love, and I choose love. And that's how you practice it.
I love that. Thank you so much. Something that's coming through for me, two things actually. So, if you find that you're struggling, because I certainly have been in that place, I'm like, I can hear this sweet little angelic voice going, "Oh, you love them. Don't worry about it." Like, not condoning bad behavior, but for example, like, your family, right? Your mum, dad, or your brothers and your sisters, when they're doing something to annoy you, you can be so angry and annoyed in the moment, and then I'll hear a little voice being like, it's okay, it doesn't matter, like, you love them. And then sometimes my ego wants to shut it down. It's like, no, because it's holding on to grievances from the past, right? And so sometimes the littlest of things that people in front of us can do annoy us because we're bringing the baggage of the past to the present. So for us to be able to snap out of that, a mantra that I love to use is, who am I without my past, right? Who am I without my past? If I had no past, I would just be unconditional love, no filters, no barriers. And so, like dogs, right? Or pets, you could shout at the dog and tell it to no and go and sit in its bed. But then 5 minutes later, it's forgotten. It loves you unconditionally again. That is our true nature. That is who we're meant to be. The dogs hold no grievances, pets hold no grievances, babies hold no grievances. They don't cry and be like, I'm like, I don't want your love because you didn't give me milk when I wanted it. No, they're just unconditional love. But another thing that I want to share as well, and I use this analogy often, is that I want you to imagine a flower with all of its petals unfurled in, they're furled in. And so this is what you do with your grievances, right? But if you just allowed yourself to love rather than hold on to the grievances, the petals would unfurl and you would bloom. Right. So this is really just teaching us to remove the armor, to remove the burdens of the past, and to allow that love and light of who we really are to shine through from us and into the world. Have you got anything else before we go, Karina? No, I just had to add that. So I hope you enjoyed lesson 68. It's a really good one. And like I said, if you feel like resistance, push through because it is really worth it. And one more thing, we've spoken about it before, the Hopopono. If I said that wrong, I'm forever going to say it wrong. Remember that, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you, I thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you, I thank you. When I'm really immersed into a story and finding it hard to let go, there's so many tools and resources, especially within the academy, that can help you. I've just given you a couple here. So the Hopopono prayer, however you say it, you can repeat that as a mantra. Who am I without my past? And like I said, there's an abundance of tools and resources. If we are struggling in any of these lessons, it's just a mental block and it's a mental barrier, which you can push through. You can push through. So that's it for lesson 68. And we will see you tomorrow for lesson 69.